In this lesson, I'm going to talk about how to graph a line when it's not in our standard graphing form of y equals mx plus b. Remember that in this form, your m, which is multiplying the x, that is your slope, and the b value, which being added to x, is your y-intercept. So this is normally called your slope-intercept form. So the first example I'm going to take a look at is something like this. 3x plus y equals 5. But normally we want it in y equals form. So one thing I can do with this problem is just get y by itself by getting rid of this 3x and moving the 3x to the other side of the equal symbol. So how I can move it to the other side of the equal symbol is by subtracting 3x from both sides of the equation. I now have y equals a negative 3x plus 5. I now have a slope of negative 3, which means I'm going down 3 and to the right 1. That would be my slope triangle. And my y-intercept is 5. Looking at another example, 5x minus 2y equals negative 8. This problem is going to start off very similar to the last one, where I'm going to move the x value to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. I have a negative 2y. So negative 2y equals a negative 5x minus 8. To get y by itself, I'm now going to divide everything by a negative 2. This makes a giant 1, so now I have y equals negative 5 divided by negative 2. I'm going to keep it as a fraction, but the two negatives become positive, so I have 5 over 2x. Negative 8 divided by negative 2, again, two negatives become a positive, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now I have a y-intercept of 4, and my slope is 5 over 2. So my slope triangle is up 5 to the right 2. Going over another example, I'm also going to show a different technique. On a problem like this, we can also try solving for the x and y intercepts. So if we think of this as being on a graph, my x-intercept means that my y value equals 0. The x-axis is actually the line y equals 0. So if I take my equation and I put in 0 for y, I will have 6x minus 3 times a y value of 0 equals 12. This all just becomes 0. So I have 6x equals 12 and x equals 2. That means I now have an x-intercept of 2. Doing the same idea with my y-intercept is this. Every value on there has an x value of 0. So I'm going to do the same idea, but now I'm going to put in 0 for x. This all becomes 0, so now I have negative 3y equals 12, and when I divide by a negative 3, my y-intercept is negative 4. From here, I can now see my slope triangle is up 4 to the right 2, which is the same thing as a slope of 2, and I can graph the rest of my line.